They're left stuck, desperately trying to rewrite a finished story. You weren't just a chapter, you were the entire book they failed to read deeply enough. Now they're holding an empty cover, aching to restart, but the ink is dry. Sixth, they fear your glow-up. It's not just the fear of losing you, but the fear of watching you rise without them, becoming everything they once mocked. This fear manifests in silence, forced smiles, and a dry throat when your name is mentioned. They're panicking because the glow-up they laughed at is now real and visible. They realize you never needed them. You were just giving them a front-row seat. Now, access is revoked, the show is sold out. You're building a life they can't enter, finding peace they'll never taste. Your progress feels like a personal attack in their twisted world. They expected you to crumble, but instead, you became untouchable. They fear the glow-up because it proves they were never your source. You were the fire before them, and now you're an inferno. This self-made focus burns them because they wanted to be the reason for your success. Now they're not even in the audience, just a cautionary tale. They'll see you living better, and they'll panic, not because you moved on, but how you moved on, quietly, powerfully, without drama. That silence screams, "I've healed," and healing terrifies those who never thought they'd hurt you, those who depended on your brokenness. You're not seeking revenge. Your growth is your revenge, twisting the knife because every step forward reminds them their presence was never essential. Every bit of your progress is a silent defiance. They live in paranoia, afraid everyone will see what they missed, that the world will witness your transformation and realize they were holding you back. This fear follows them because now they don't just regret losing you. They're terrified of who you're becoming without them. Seventh, isolation and the weight of silence. It feels so loud without them. Silence, when it's yours, becomes a storm, screaming through their walls, thoughts, and timelines. Once someone is used to your presence, your comfort, your soul, your absence creates an emptiness that rings. Isolation isn't just being alone. It's feeling the void you left behind even when surrounded by people. Conversations don't hit the same. Laughs feel forced. Nights stretch too long. They'll be out with friends, smiling outwardly, but hollow inside because the one who anchored their chaos is gone. They never realized your silence would echo. Every unread message, every ignored call, every time they took your voice for granted, would collapse on them. You used to fill rooms. Now they hear only their own thoughts, which are no longer friendly. They haunt them. Why did you let them go? They'll try to replace the noise, but nothing sticks because you took the frequency with you. Every voice after sounds off-key. They're trapped replaying your words, your silence, your exit. Every conversation becomes a comparison. Every room a graveyard. And the silence grows heavier, sitting on their chest at night. They used to wish you'd shut up. Now they'd give anything to hear your voice. But you finally learned not everyone deserves access to your energy. Their isolation is their punishment, not out of cruelty, but because you're done. They built that silence brick by brick. They thought you'd always be there, always forgive, always wait. But now they're in the aftermath, and it's lonely when you realize the only person who truly understood you isn't coming back. So let them choke on the silence they birthed, because nothing screams louder than a room that used to be full of your presence, now empty by choice. Eighth, accountability and the crushing truth. It was me all along. Here comes the mirror of truth, reflecting not who they pretended to be, but the raw, bare truth. They were the problem. Accountability kicks the door in, bringing receipts, flashbacks, ignored messages, tears they caused, red flags they waved. Now they finally see their sarcasm, their cutting jokes, their cold shoulders, their manipulation, how they made you feel crazy for asking for the bare minimum. It breaks them, not because they didn't know, but because they thought they'd never pay for it. You were the glue, and they were ripping everything apart. Now they're surrounded by pieces, with no instructions, just the memory of what they had, and the haunting truth that they destroyed it. It's humbling when someone realizes they were the villain. That's when the excuses stop. They finally understand why you stopped talking, stopped trying, stopped caring. You didn't run away, you protected yourself. You grew up, and growth doesn't beg. They'll replay your warnings, the "I'm tired" they dismissed, the "I can't do this anymore" they called dramatic. It all hits now, each syllable like a bullet. It's not anger that kills them. It's understanding. Understanding that you were solid, real, the one who showed up. Now they have to live with it. There's no going back, no apology strong enough. Once you've tasted freedom, you don't crawl back to captivity. They wanted the truth? It was them, always was. Ninth, the desperation to reconnect. Can I still fix this? Now comes the begging stage, when pride is swallowed, ego folds, and desperation steps in. They realize the silence isn't temporary, the glow-up isn't for show, and the door you closed isn't opening again. That's when they reach out, clumsy, shaky, late. Suddenly, you're all they think about. Not out of love, but out of loss. They miss you because they know they can't find you again. They'll text, call, pop up with weak apologies. They're drowning and think your voice might be the lifeline. But you've changed. You're not the same person who begged to be heard. You're full now of wisdom, lessons, and a fire they can't touch. But they'll still try, pouring out paragraphs of regret, bringing up old memories. They think nostalgia will save them, but nostalgia without growth is just another lie, and you're not buying it. You remember the laughs and the silence that followed, the sweet moments and the cold ones. Their desperation isn't romantic, it's survival. They see you thriving and they're stuck in rewind. They think if they say the right words, you'll crack. But you're steel now, forged in the fire they set. You respond from clarity, which shows you exactly why they don't belong in your future. Still, they'll beg for one more chance. But you already talked. You screamed through silence. They heard it. They just didn't listen. Now they want to fast forward to forgiveness like they earned it. But healing doesn't need an audience. They might even play the victim, blame their past. But that never stopped them from laughing at your pain. So no, there's nothing left to fix, not because you're cold, but because you finally know the difference between someone who's sorry and someone who's sorry they got caught losing. You. Let them beg. Some doors don't open twice. 10th, the realization that you were the rare one. I'll never find another like them. Here it is, the deadliest feeling. When everything else fades, what's left is a sharp truth. You were the rare one. Real is extinct these days. Real doesn't just fill silence at 2 a.m., real stays. And they let that go. This realization comes quietly, maybe years later, watching someone else walk out the same way they did to you. Suddenly it hits. You were different. Soul deep. Once in a lifetime different. And in that moment, pride and ego collapse. They had something rare and broke it. They start remembering the small things, the way you listened, the way you cared, the way you stayed. It's the small moments that tear them up. The unstageable love they never earned. Now they're trying to find your reflection in shadows, comparing everyone to someone they'll never see again. You weren't even trying to be unforgettable, you just were. They miss your honesty, your presence, your soul. You weren't just a partner, you were a mirror, and they shattered it. Now they're stuck staring at their own broken pieces, wishing they could rewind. But you've moved on. You shine in places they can't reach. You're not just gone, you're above. That truth follows them. They lie awake wondering, what if I had treated them right? But there's no reset button. Just the ache of knowing they lost the rarest thing they'll ever touch, and it was all their fault. So now, the curtain closes. 10 things they will feel. You're the ghost in all of it. not bitter, but absent. Your absence became a mirror, a punishment, a lesson. They're paying for the silence you left behind. They weren't ready for someone too real, someone who gives everything and asks for just respect. They weren't built for your deep, all-in love. They dragged you down, but no more. You walked out of strength. The day you chose yourself, their world started falling apart. Let them feel it. You're not their rehab. You were the blessing, the standard. Now you're gone and you're not coming back. Let them break in peace. They just didn't see it, but now they can't unsee.